so organised you can get in a muddle.
I love the taste of goat cheese and blackberry together.
You say goat cheese.
Yes.
You don't say goat's cheese. Is that an American thing? Because we say goat's cheese.
Many goat's cheeses.
That was our SoCal Spotlight guest, Mackenzie Rubish of the Great American Baking Show. She's coming up next on SoCal Spotlight. Hello and welcome to the third episode of SoCal Spotlight. I'm María Felicia Kelley. We bring you the achievers, the high flyers, the movers and shakers in Southern California in entertainment, sports, wellness, business, and politics. And today I am so excited to chat with the Bright Light season-winning contestant from the Great American Baking Show. She's Mackenzie Rubish. Yay, Mackenzie! Thanks for coming. We're so happy to have you here. And now your new show. It's a party. You've been doing a lot since we last chatted in our last interview. What have you been up to since winning the Great American Baking Show?
Some amazing things. So not only have I had the pleasure of being welcomed to our local news to talk about baked goods, and KUSI and Fox 5 San Diego have been so welcoming, so I've been able to, talk about baking with the community in that way. Of course, I met you, which has been absolutely fantastic, and being a part of the journey with, SoCal Spotlight and talking about all the projects that I've been working on. Obviously, a lot of baking.
Yes.
That one will
Get to the baking.
Yeah. That one will home. So I do a little bit of baking in a shared commercial kitchen in Vista. And now we just filmed a kind of a pilot type of series for Amazon Prime and Food Network. And so we did that all in the month of December. We filmed 4 episodes. So you can imagine how hectic December was, filming 4 episodes, the kids out of school, and the holidays.
Yeah. So with the new show, have you finished taping? Are you in the process?
Cool. So the process is so I work with independent producers. So they come up with a show idea, they come to the house, and we film. And the next step in the process is getting the episodes uploaded to Amazon Prime and Food Network, so then we can start collecting unique viewership. And then once the unique viewership hits a certain threshold, because they want to make sure that it's a good show and profitable on their end, that's when we discuss the next steps of where the show can go. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they like what they see and that the relationship goes.
And you were spot on in the Great American Baking Show. You just had a natural way about you. I remember I even asked you, do you have a background in acting? Personality comes through. And your knowledge base, you've got quick wit.
And I will say the one thing that I loved about it is that we actually did film in my home.
Oh, that's
so filmed at my house, and you get to see my friends and family there because they're all in the backyard enjoying everything that I've made, which is the whole concept of it's a party, is that a lot of the times when you watch cooking shows, you watch all this food being made, but you don't really see it being enjoyed.
Right.
Usually it's the chefs themselves will take a bite and then okay, on to the next. And it's like, no, I want to see it with people, because that's how I was raised.
What you made, that's part of the fun of cooking, right?
And that's where I get my joy. Food is my love language. So I want to see it go from my kitchen to people's bellies and see the joy that they get from it. So not only do you see me cooking in my kitchen, but you get to see a backyard party happening with my kids are in it, my sister, my mom, my best friends, even my water polo coach from high school is there. My husband is there helping me. And it also goes to show that it takes a village.
Right.
We're planning any type of party that asking for help. If you have friends that can give you chairs or tables, I don't own a lot of party event planning stuff. I don't have 10 tables and 40 chairs in my backyard. So the other great thing about this is knowing who to ask and that it's okay to ask for help when planning a party.
Right. That's awesome. And so speaking of it being such a family affair, you have, let's just backtrack. So you have 3 daughters, obviously your husband, and then your broader family as well. So you have this dynamic going that seems to be really beneficial for how you like to cook and the way you like to make it into a family celebration, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to cook for less than 10 people. It's always been big. So I come from a Polynesian family. So my dad was born in American Samoa. So family and food have always been the heart of anything that we have done. And I grew up where we didn't know how many people were showing up. The neighborhood just knows that the door's open. You put your foot out the door and you walk inside, and there's always food. So we always cooked, knowing that random people were going to come by. And I will say, this is before internet. This is before cell phones. People just knew. And it was like, everybody used the garage door. Nobody even walked. I don't even remember using the front door growing up. It was always like, you walked in through the garage, you dropped off your candles, and then you went into the kitchen, you ate, you hung out in the backyard. Everyone knew that if it's a Saturday or Sunday, there's food on the table at our house. So that's how I was raised, and that's something that I continue to pass down within my family and my extended family. I always just want to be a place that people can feel comfortable, feel at home, and feel fed.
That's so cool. Yeah. And so you grew up in Oceanside, right? And so all of this was happening in that environment, which is awesome. So you got the beach scene, and you have, that whole neighborhood sort of congregation that they know where to go. So you started in that space as a child. You started cooking. Am I right? And so,
so
this thing that's followed you throughout adulthood.
And it's interesting because it's like, even when I applied for the Great American Baking Show, and so many people have asked me, like, oh, how many times have you applied? Because I guess it's pretty standard for a lot of people to have multiple applications. I will even remember a moment in the tent. Paul looked at me and said, is it true that this is your first time applying? I said, yes. And he just shakes his head and walked away.
That's amazing. Wow.
And I was like, is that bad? Is that good? What's happening? Like, I didn't know.
Saw it.
Because I grew up in an environment where this was almost my normal, I thought everybody did this.
Right.
Because that was my normal. So when everyone is like, oh my gosh, you bake amazing, and I can't believe you do this with kids, how do you find the time? And I'm like, doesn't everybody just cook and bake? Or is it just me? Like, it's such a norm for me that it was hard for me to comprehend that no, this is not what everybody does. Yes, people have applied multiple times to the show. I even asked fellow bakers that were on the season with me, like, have you done this before?
But how many people ended up applying with that group that you were with?
So, out of the 8 people that were on the show, I think at least 6 of them were repeat appliers.
Yeah.
So they had over 20,000 applicants just through this last season.
Say what?
Over 20,000 people applied.
You're insane. God, that's insane. And then wait, so there are 8 contestants, and you were among the 8, and you ended up winning. That's incredible.
So they just narrowed it down, and I remember when I went to Pasadena for the final test, there was 80 people, I believe. And so they narrowed it down from 80 to 8.
Oh my goodness.
I don't envy that job at all, but they have a knack for it. I know I'm biased because I was one of the ones that got chosen. But they do, like, they picked some of the most amazing people, and I know there was other amazing people, but they have such a knack for picking people that are so different from each other. And we all bake so differently.
Oh, that's interesting.
And we have different backgrounds. Like, none of us, like, we all did different flavors. At no point were they like, oh, you can't do this flavor because this person's doing that. Wow. We all just happened to choose different things, and that was the beauty of it, is that we were all so different. And I think that's what created that baking and cooking is that there is no correct, of course there's culinary correct and professional correct, but the great thing about cooking and baking is have fun with it, and you can change up the flavors and explore, and at the end of the day, just have fun with it. And that's what I love about baking and cooking, is that you can just switch it up, have fun, feed people you love, even feed yourself if you're craving something special. So, why not?
That's so cool. And there's an art to give some kudos to the production side, to crafting in terms of casting. Who's going to work well with whom. I'm sure that had something to do with it. But I mean, your story about being one of 20,000 from the outset to actually winning it on the first shot, as Hollywood Paul said, that's amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Again, applause.
Oh.
So tell us now about how your maiden name kind of speaks to what you've actually ended up doing with your life.
Yeah, so my maiden name, Fa'umuina, it relates to a Samoan oven, which is an umu, so it's right in the middle of my name. And an umu is an earth oven, or in Samoa, it's pretty much an oven that they put into the ground. They dig a hole, they put lava rocks, they light it, they cook everything on there, and the whole time, my whole life, it's been sitting there in my name, oven. And I have created Umo Bakehouse because that really is my life story, is that the oven is at the heart of my name.
Yeah.
It is at the heart of who I am. And it's something that I treasure so much. And a way to honor not only my dad and his legacy, but also the one that I'm creating for myself. So, really special.
Extra special. And somehow you tie in there that also connects to Let's Party.
Right. So, Fa'umuina is the running joke, is that it's like, it relates to like, okay, let's party, because it's like the food, and it's all about like where the umu goes, and let's find the way of an umu with the oven. And so it's like you put the oven there. It's always about this is where the food goes. And it's about gathering, and in the Samoan culture, it is all about hospitality and kindness. And at the heart of what my dad taught me was, let's put a party together, invite the village over, let's eat, let's be happy, and let's show our love to one another.
So awesome. So now tell us about, so you haven't always just been a baker, you've been doing some other things. So I'm not sure if it's like in the past, are you still working in other elements? Tell us about it.
I still work my 9 to 5. So, on top of everything going on, I actually do have a 9 to 5 job. I'm a quality analyst for a telecommunications company. I started out in environmental. I have a master's degree in environmental and fish and wildlife management, and I now do quality work and audits for aerospace engineering.
Wow, such a high-tech sort of job.
In like one part of the brain. One half of the brain is very technical, and the other half is artistic, and that's where I get my baking done.
Yeah, and that works because you do need to have a certain level of organization, right? When you're in the kitchen and measuring and combining ingredients, and it is sort of like chemistry, right?
Absolutely, and I find a lot of I find baking to be very therapeutic because there's structure and there's organization to chaos. And when the rest of my life or world seems chaotic, whether that be the kids' schedule, work schedule, even just home life, baking seems to allow me to really just concentrate, focus on one thing, and then I get to create something that is amazing and delicious, and then I get to feed myself and make myself a little bit happier with a little bit of sweetness. But also my job, my 9 to 5, has really prepared me for baking even more so, because it has taught me to be more organized and be more process oriented. And I actually time blocked myself for the TV show. And what's funny is Paul Hollywood posted a reel maybe like 2 or 3 days ago. And he said in the reel, if you want to be Star Baker and if you want to get a handshake, you have to be organized and come with a plan.
Uh-huh.
And that's exactly what I did for the show. And there's even a part in my episode, and I want to say it's episode 1, where he goes, do you have a plan? And I said, yes, it's on my spreadsheet. And I go, I time task myself. And he goes, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. So coming full circle, he literally just said that a couple days ago in a reel, and I'm evident of that because I did get a Hollywood handshake. I did come prepared. I time blocked myself, and I ended up winning. So being prepared, it's not overrated. It is
You're probably like the stellar contestant. They probably show videos of Mackenzie. It's like, okay, you guys want to be organized. You need to follow this strategy, okay? Because this chick, she knows what she's doing.
So funny because when they came over to the house for like pre-production where they filmed like the behind the scenes thing, I was like, oh, I'm surprised you guys didn't get me with my binder. And the producer goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, I have every episode time blocked and organized in a binder with dividers labeled. He's like, oh my gosh, we need to get that on camera. And I'd be in the trailer offset to study my time block. And then I would close my eyes and run through the whole scenario in my head. And I just memorize it. And they'd be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm getting in the zone. I'm like, I'm here to win.
That's right. You went into it with that mindset and you got what you came to get, right? So that's...
Well, you can go home. Like, you don't go all the way to London. You don't get through 20,000 applicants just to go in. Like, you're there for one thing and one thing only. And it was have fun, focus on yourself, and win. So
that's great. Okay, so now after all of this, because I know I asked you this before, do you consider yourself an amateur or professional baker now?
So I don't think I will ever consider myself professional until I actually. I know. For me, it's like
you gotta stop. You are okay. Take it from me. You officially are able to call yourself a pro.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to give you a shot just to underscore.
Well, no, I just love to cook and bake, and
well,
and I will say I still mess up. I still don't do things right, and I know that forever in time I will always have those days, but I keep doing it, and I love it. And that's the whole fun about baking and cooking is sometimes things don't work out, but you keep going. You try to find what does work.
Right.
And I still look up techniques and skills that I don't know or haven't perfected. I still reach out to some of the bakers now and ask them for help that were on the show. Some of them are more technically savvy than I am. And I'm like, okay, if I run out of high weights, what do I use? You know what I mean? So
right.
It's good to have the community out there to reach out to, so for help. So.
A lot of them are kind of in the SoCal area too, so they're probably. I mean, you can get on the phone, but
closest one is Santa Barbara. So Chris is up in Santa Barbara, and then Rayone's in San Francisco, and then RJ's up in like Sacramento area, up in he's from Paradise up north, and then everybody else is like Ohio, Pennsylvania.
You do remember hearing that.
New York, and then Minnesota. So, but four of us were from California.
And do you guys you stay in touch pretty much? Everybody's still pretty tight?
So we're on a WhatsApp together. And we also are in a WhatsApp of last season, too.
Oh, cool.
All of last season's contestants and us are in a combined group, too.
So tell us, too, about the actual baking business you have. How can those of us who live in Southern California, how can we have at some of Mackenzie's food?
Right, yeah. A little bit. Well, it's very at the infancy of baking. Baking and starting a business is not for the not for the frail. I'll tell you that much. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning to pace myself because I don't want to not like it.
Right.
And I think the biggest lesson I'm learning is to take it slow. And I think I overdid it during Christmas, to be honest. Not only did I take on Christmas cheap box orders, but I also got the call the same day that we were going to start filming the 4 episodes.
Oh,
So
wow.
I definitely bit off more than I can chew, and I'm learning, and I'm so appreciative of these little lessons and trusting my gut and leaning into, okay, this is too much for me. So for Umu Bakehouse, I'm starting off very slow. So at a commercial kitchen and taking orders as I put out orders. So right now I'm not taking like random orders as if I'm an open shop. It's more like, oh, I'm dropping this product on this day. If you want to place an order, place it. I do get reached out by some people that are like, hey, I have a wedding. Can I order from you? I have a birthday. And so we'll talk and we'll see what works. And then, yeah. So but through Instagram, people reach out to me. That's probably the best and quickest way is through Instagram because everybody has their phone right there. Right. Or it's you could just contact me at umubakehouse@yahoo.com or email as well. So
Perfect.
but yeah, holding up small and pacing myself, I think is key. So
And it sounds like you can create kind of custom projects, or you're open to that for wedding, whatever. Yeah. Well, that's kind of that forte, though. I mean, that's what you were able to demonstrate in the show,
right? And I have to learn to balance it with my 9 to 5 and the kids and being home.
True.
As much as I would love to go 0 to 60 with a business, it has to be something that I can transition into. And opening up a business is hard. It really is. There's not, and the people that I've talked to that own bakeries, they have given me some advice that I'm thankful for, but also wasn't expecting.
Yeah. And then you have to figure it out on your own. So you can get advice, but you also need to make that advice practical. You run your own sort of issues, challenges, and triumphs. So
absolutely. And I think part of the challenge too is like, I'm at a phase in my life where I am older. I have a house and kids, so I can't financially take risks. I have to make sure that my family is taken care of. That's priority one.
As you know, I run the North County Moms. We're a resource website for busy moms. And I know that, we try to talk to moms and just chit chat about entrepreneurial mothers and mothers who are stay-at-home moms. So what are the dynamics of making home life really work around what you're doing, not only for your career, but also for your added incentives to move into the baking field?
Yeah, so it's a juggle, obviously. It takes a lot of juggling and balancing of home life and just trying to see what works. And me and my husband always have the saying that if it feels like a square peg being shoved into a round hole, we already know the answer. So my biggest thing is communicating with my husband no matter what, as far as how I'm feeling. Can I take this on? I have one of the most supportive families with my mom and my sister. If I called them up right now and said, hey, can you take the kids overnight so I can work on something? They would, in a heartbeat.
Wow.
And having family close to do that. Like, for instance, I went to Palm Springs this weekend just by myself. After all the filming and everything that went on December, I said, can I just have 2 days to just do nothing? And I did. I went to Palm Springs and I literally did nothing for 2 days. I did bake.
You found kitchen bacon. Of course.
Well, I baked for me. I sat on the couch and I watched football and ate red pudding like it was fantastic. So, but
last time we talked, you were going on a camping trip, and cooking was going to be a part of that as well.
I baked for that too. I made cupcakes and brought cupcakes, and I think I also brought muffins. Yeah, I brought banana muffins. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where I try not to overwhelm my brain and with too much. It's one thing at a time. Obviously, staying organized with a calendar. You know, me and the husband use like a shared calendar, so I get to look at things, and I'm learning to say no. I will say that I am learning to say no more.
Good. Good. You have to.
And I'm a people pleaser naturally.
Yeah.
And I learned that from last year that I actually need to say, you know what, I just don't
Can't
want
do it
to.
all.
And I don't want to use it. And I don't have to explain myself either. I don't have to tell somebody I can't do this because I'm tired. It's just no, I can't do that.
No reason.
So
Exactly. Very good.
I felt I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, it's self-preservation too. At some point you have to say, all right, I know what I can handle and I know what I can't do and I know, what's going to be a struggle. So very good.
Right. And I think the biggest lesson too is like, even though I have time, I could find or make the time to do something. But I don't want to. I want to actually use that time to maybe just sit down and read a book.
Right.
Maybe I don't want to just be busy, 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 go, go, go. And I grew up in a generation where if you sat down on the couch, you were labeled lazy.
True.
You know, my mom was the same mom. If she was, I don't think I've ever remember my mom sitting down once as a child.
Wow.
She was either on the computer working, she was either at work teaching, folding laundry, cooking us dinner. I don't remember my mom ever taking a break for herself.
Wow.
And I think that is something that I want to change for myself, is that it is not a negative to do that.
Yes.
Even though I grew up in a time where it was labeled as such. So I'm learning to say no. I'm learning that I can sit on the couch and watch trashy TV for 30 minutes if that's what helps me.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's right. You got to do it.
Yeah.
My thing is I got to be on my treadmill and, watching, the recorded things I have that I'm trying to catch up on. And it's my guilty pleasure, but I'm doing something that I enjoy in the process. And it's like, that's my time. And
my husband is,
yeah.
I love that. I love that man to death. Because I'll be out in the kitchen washing dishes. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, the kitchen's a mess. I need to clean it. He's like, it can wait.
Yes.
It can wait.
Good. That's
Sit
true.
down.
So,
Sit down. I'll go tomorrow.
so we know that we have like a nice menagerie of animals in the household, right? So we have 2 dogs. Oh, cute. 2 dogs or more?
Really?
3 dogs. A cat and a pet pit?
Yes.
Listen how they factor into like the lifestyle, and it's just so cool. I just love how you create all of that.
Well, part of growing up, I always grew up around animals. That's thanks to my mom. She's an equestrian, so she grew up with horses and stuff. And there's this right there. There's one of the kitty cats.
Cute. Oh.
Yeah, we have the 3 dogs, and we live on almost 2 acres, so they have the property to roam and have fun, and the kids ride their bikes all over. And then Kevin, the pig, I just let him out. He's out roaming around. He gets the whole property to roam and graze all day, and then he puts himself to bed. He has a big hutch with like blankets in it.
Are they really as smart as you hear? Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. He is so stinking smart. And I will say one thing that I enjoy about having Kevin is he, like last night, I was making just diced up sweet potatoes. All the peelings I save and he eats them.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm not throwing any of that away. Like grapes, fruit that's starting to get mushy, I just throw them out on the lawn and he munches on them.
Wow.
Halloween, everyone brings me their pumpkins. He loves them.
Oh.
He loves to eat all the pumpkins. So there's a lot of produce that doesn't go to waste around here because
he's your living optimist.
Yeah.
That's it. We got to go years ago. Those are the best. Is he in the house or how does that work now?
No, so he has an outdoor a big outdoor pen. I'm looking at it right now from my window. And then he can technically go into our bedroom because that's where the dogs also can come in. And we have like the slider open for the dogs. So the dogs spend their day either in our master bedroom or outside. So,
Oh, that is so cool. Very nice. You mentioned every move I make has to be with intention. So expound on that. Tell us what you mean.
so the reason why I said that is because, time is the essence in that tent. And the running joke is that a cake on TV takes 15 minutes, but a cake in the tent takes 4 hours. So even while visually you're like, oh my God, they got that done in like 20 minutes. It's like, oh no, like 4 hours. And if you go use the restroom, you don't get to push pause. So like, it's funny because they'd be like, oh, bring some water. I'm like, no, I'm not hydrating. Are you crazy? And the reason why I said every move I make has to be with intention is because it truly meant, this is the finale, the creme de la creme, and the piece de resistance of everything came down to these 4 hours. And there was no room for mistake. There was no room because even though that was the one thing I struggled with was the final. I think I made my macarons 3 times, and I ended up burning myself. You didn't see it. It was off camera. I ended up burning myself.
Oh, no. And your finger and hand?
Yeah, my finger. So I was using their, the little burner, and I didn't know that so mine at home, you have to push the back to turn it on. Once you let go, the flame turns off. It's put on, and then you let go, it turns off. Theirs is a twist, so once you turn it on, the flame stays on.
Oh.
And it's almost clear. You couldn't really see it. So I went to reach in front of it to grab something, not knowing the flame was still burning.
Oh, no.
And I ended up dropping a piece of my nicotine tower because it was supposed to be one higher up. And so that shattered all over the floor. So there's a lot of things you didn't see.
Oh, wow.
And it's the final. So it's like everything led up to this moment. And the judges, it has nothing to do with how you baked episode 3 or episode 2. It's however you perform in that one episode is what determines whether you win or not.
Oh, really? So they don't factor in previous successes? No. Wow.
No. So once you're done with an episode, you make it through to the next round. I erased it from my memory. I am starting from scratch each episode. And so knowing that every move that I made had to be with purpose.
Yeah.
It had to mean something. I had to also not be panicked. Because if I panicked, then that's when things go. I had to really there was moments I had to just go, it's okay. We're good. Just calm down, because when you get on this panic like roller coaster, it just starts to unravel. And and I felt it was just say, okay, take a step back. What are we doing? What's going on? And even though most people might think you're on a time crunch, get moving, why are you just standing there? I find that I'll make more mistakes if I stay in panic mode than I would if I take a step back and just recollect myself.
Right.
So
very cool.
You have the time is there to recollect your thoughts and your emotions. It doesn't take long.
Yeah. So then what was the celebration like when you there, and then when you came back home? The family must have been very, very excited for you.
Oh, gosh. So excited. And it's like they had to ship the cake plate, so like I didn't have it in hand for at least a month.
Oh, wow.
But, you had to keep it a secret, so that's hard too.
Yeah.
There's something that you can blast on social media until the show aired. So it's like I got to celebrate twice with those that knew, because I got to call my mom and sister on camera. I got to call my husband and tell him, and So I got to celebrate with them when I got home, and then I got to celebrate again with friends and family that didn't know. And so we'd have like a watch party. And we had a watch party at my mom's house. We had a watch party at my work. My work even hosted a watch party. And it was just, and they still celebrate to this day how incredible this is. So, and I just got to, the episode on the Jennifer Hudson Show just aired 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So we're celebrating again through that. And so it's just it's incredible.
So how did that happen? Did Jennifer Hudson, did she invite you there? How did you guys end up connecting?
Oh, so this, I think, is such a great story because it goes to show how putting yourself out there is worth it. So I went onto the Jennifer Hudson Show website, and it says, be a guest on the show. And I'm like, okay. So I filled out the form and clicked send, and that was it.
Uh-huh.
And a producer reached out to me and said, oh, we'd love to invite you and a friend to be in the audience. Would you like to come and watch a show? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, that's incredible just to be in the audience for a Jennifer Hudson show. So me and my friend went down. I brought cookies, of course.
I remember seeing
the producer came out and I said, oh, I brought these cookies for you and the rest of the production team and Jennifer. And I literally had maybe like 2 minutes, and I was like, thank you so much for having us. And I pitched to her an idea of what I'm passionate about, and that is generational cooking, which is passing down food to our next generation. And, my dad passed down this bologna recipe to me, and I want to pass it down to my kids. And she goes, we should talk afterwards. Maybe there's something there. And so I'm like, great. So we got to watch the show. I got to meet Jennifer after the show, and she got to hand her one of my cookies. And then a few days passed, and I emailed the producer and said, hey, thanks again. I'd love to chat more about this opportunity and blah, 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 blah. She goes, yeah, I'm going to talk to our production team and see what they think. And literally like a week or two later, she calls me and goes, we want you on the show.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
So I absolutely love this because I hope it encourages other people to take that chance on themselves.
Yeah.
Because I didn't sit back and wait for someone to reach out to me. I reached out to them. I said, I have a great idea. This is what I'm passionate about. I know other people would feel the same. And then they invited me and the family down to film, and we filmed in September.
Oh, wow. So you've been doing that for a while. So many little secrets.
I'm not going to
I love it. You roll them out. There's timing involved based on what production wants, but you dole them out as they become useful for you and the next step. That's so cool.
It was such an honor to take my kids to the show, and I think you can watch it on her website or even on YouTube, on her YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But you see me baking and showing Jennifer how to bake this bologna with my eldest daughter, Harper. She's 9. And then with my twins, Ava and Remy, they run out at the end to help us eat. And it's such an honor because not only am I there with my kids and talking about passing down recipes, but it is a special traditional Samoan steamed cake called pulini that was passed down from my dad to me. He passed 20 years ago, so being able to honor him and honor my culture. And even on the show, I'm using the exact same pot and pan that he used.
Oh my goodness!
And to share it with new people, I think that's the greatest thing about sharing not only food but the significance of it and our culture is that I just got to share that with Jennifer Hudson's audience and everyone that watches the show that may not know who a Samoan person is. Why not? It's just fantastic.
And that cake looks, because I've seen you do it on Instagram. It's so unique. It's like you're opening people's eyes. Many are not familiar with that particular tradition.
And the great thing is I say cake, and people are like, okay, it's a cake. I have cake all the time. Well, this cake is steamed, so you're not using an oven to bake it, and Yeah, so you put it in a little bit of water, and this cake actually rises and bakes just from steam alone. And this kind of ties back to my name, Ulu, which means outdoor oven or earth oven, is because that's how cake was made and cooked because traditional ovens didn't exist in the island. So they had to find a way to do this. So they would wrap it in almost like a cloth, and they would cover it with banana leaves to create this clean environment. And that's how traditionally a pulingi was made. So I recreated this umu in a pot on a stove, so to speak.
That's
So
got your take on it. That's awesome. Or your dad.
Yeah, that's how he like, well, I'm not going to go in the backyard and dig a hole right now, but we can do it on the stove.
Yeah, there you go. Another episode.
That is something that I want to get into, is teaching more classes around traditional Samoan food. So I'm in the process of teaching myself and learning from cousins and aunties, and then hopefully that will kick off in the new year.
So with It's a Party, did you pitch the show to producers? Or how did you find that connection?
Yeah, so the producers were I was introduced to them through a mutual friend, and I pitched the idea that it's a party because the way that I was pretty much raised, and so we just started talking. And the great thing with independent producers is they are in the business of creating TV shows for networks. So as independent producers, they go out and they find the funding and the underwriting, and then they come in and film these and they pitch these to the studios. And so in general, it's the process of getting them up in the network and making sure that it becomes popular and that the network orders more. So that's where it's a scary process. I've learned a lot. Now we're just kind of in waiting mode.
Right. You put yourself out there, and you must feel a little vulnerable in the process, but that's part of moving forward, right?
I learned a lot. I learned some good things about myself and some things about the industry. That might be for another time.
Yeah, that's another show. That's cool, though.
I learned a lot, and I have formulated some really good friendships too. So, and it really showed me. It really showed me like who those people are in my life. That if I were to call them right now and ask them for help, they would help me on a dot. So I was just so incredibly thankful for the friends and family that came out during the holidays for all these parties in my backyard, and with cameras, and it was nuts. We filmed 4 episodes in 15 days.
Oh my goodness!
And we're talking about 16-hour days in my house, in my kitchen. I'm doing all the cook, all the prep, all the cleaning. And then I'm also welcoming 20 friends and family and also making sure they're well taken care of. So,
we have all of the participants because it's a party, right?
The one thing that I hope comes from all of this is I do hope that a network sees it and they say, there's something here.
Yeah.
Let's purchase this, and then I would love for the network to come in and almost restructure and reshape like the finesse that it needs. And I think that's what, and I think that's the part of the process is, of course, a pilot episode that independent producers are creating are going to have the big budget that Netflix and Amazon gives. So the job of the network is to say, hey, there's potential here. This is what it can be. Let's make this into something great. Oh,
perfect. Well, guess what? My money is on you because you already defied the odds. Always remember the 20,000 other applicants. And, that in itself should and then just winning, task after task. And then everything just seems to be working in your favor. And I think it's because you present yourself as a wonderful, caring, thoughtful individual, and good things come to you. And that's just life. So we applaud you.
Yeah, I will say the one thing that I've enjoyed about all of this is that I've got to absolutely be my true self in all of this. And that's what made me feel, I'm going to be 40 this year, and I'm now just learning some really big life lessons, and I'm really, really grateful for these. So, yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So, do you advise us who are your fans, your new fans, your old fans? Should we just stay tuned for, we can follow you on Instagram. How else can we be aware of when It's a Party rolls out and we can actually stream it?
I think Instagram is going to be the big one. I'm on TikTok. I'm in the big house as well. And then, but between those two, those are going to be the first, I would say the first. Like, as soon as I know the world, I'm going to tell everybody. So, yeah.
We'll help push it here. Count on
Yeah.
SoCal.
So I'm so thrilled. So thrilled.
Very good. Well, we're so happy to have you back. Can't wait for you to come back again with more details after that network picks you up. Thank you so much, Mackenzie.
Thank you, Maria. It's so great to see you again. It's always a pleasure.
Until next time, my friend.
Yeah.
See you later.
Each other again.
Okay, good.
See ya.
Okay, see you. Bye.